Tell us a little bit about Coastal Carolina's season this year. I know you guys had a pretty good season, but give us a little update.
This season at Coastal Carolina, it was unlike any others because we actually transitioned up to
Right.
FBS ball because previously Coastal Carolina had been competing in FCS ball and had been playing in the Big South and had been super successful in the Big South. Last year, the team went 10-2, with the only two losses being to Charleston Southern in South Carolina and then Jacksonville State, which is actually in Alabama. And both of those losses were by just 1 point. So the team had really gone above and beyond the last couple of years, always in contention for a Big South championship. But the whole university decided that some change was needed. And the neat thing is that the Sun Belt had approached Coastal Carolina about joining its conference. And as far as East Tennessee listeners go, the Sun Belt has Appalachia State, has Troy,
Right.
has Arkansas State. So just a really up-and-coming conference, and it was kind of a no-brainer that it would work out for the whole university if we could just join the Sun Belt Conference. And so that was officially done. And as far as the 2017 season, this was the last year of our two-year transition. So in 2016, we were, quote-unquote, in transition, still played an FCS schedule, but
Okay.
we were unable to be in contention for the FCS playoff. And then this year in 2017, we went ahead and played a full FBS schedule. I believe our only FCS opponent was Western Illinois. And then at the end of the season, we just wouldn't be able to go to a bowl game because this was still a transition year. But in 2018, we'll be full out eligible to be able to go to any bowl game, depending on how the season goes. And when we joined the Sun Belt this season, we knew that there were going to be just a higher level of competition, a lot of good athletes, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good schools. And so we actually went 3-9 this year. We started off well. We played a great game against UMass. And then as we went on through the season, we definitely saw that this was not the FCS level that we were used to playing
Right.
to. But the one thing that I can tell you that I'm just incredibly proud of is the hard work of not only our staff, but of our football guys. Because when the times get tough, which they do, you really have two options. Is that you can kind of lay down and let that be it, or you can continue to fight against that. And so week in and week out, we're really trying to, buy in and, to really set a foundation moving forward into the Sun Belt and for future Coastal Carolina teams. And the guys continue to do that. So week in and week out, continue to strive, continue to push through. And we actually ended the season on a 2-game win streak. We went out to the University of Idaho and we got a win out there. And then we came on back to Conway, South Carolina, where we finished up the season against Georgia Southern. So we had a win there for our last 2 games. And it was just an awesome feeling that after a whole season of really grinding and really, working together, to see that kind of come to fruition there at the end, and just love to send our seniors out on a good note. So proud of them and the work that they did. So that's kind of how our season unfolded there in 2017.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you about was, and you talked about it, was the transition. So I guess my question would be, what was at first impetus for you guys to make that transition, and second of all, I guess what certain requirements or almost prerequisites does a school need to have to make that jump? Because I'm sure there's a lot of FCS teams that have either kicked around the idea or thought about it or maybe even want to, but maybe don't meet certain requirements. Just take kind of our listeners through, what it takes to make that move from SCS to the FBS.
Well, one of the biggest things that when you think about is you've got to have that fan support. You've got to have that backing. There's a lot of people involved more than just the athletic program. It's really
Right.
a whole university moving forward. And at the forefront of my mind, one of the biggest things was that Coastal's football stadium didn't have the capacity to move up to FBS. So as they were talking about, all of the different options, that was one of the first things that came to the table was, well, we have to do a complete stadium renovation
Right.
to make sure that that could facilitate an FBS program. And prior to 2017, the only 2 FBS teams in the state of South Carolina are Clemson and South Carolina.
Right.
So, meetings throughout meetings, all of this finally got approved, and we started, groundbreaking on our new stadium. I believe it was March, April of this year.
Right.
And previously, our stadium seated about 10,000 people, around that number. To be an FBS member, I want to say that the average, you have to average a certain number of fans in attendance each game,
Okay.
is 15,000. So it was kind of, I want to say it's a 2-year process where this first year for 2017, we went ahead and expanded it to 15,000 seats. And
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever been out to the surf turf here in Conway, but
No.
we have kind of 3 sides to our field. And what they basically did was that they made it a horseshoe. So they made it a complete enclosed horseshoe, and then they kind of built on to the home side where kind of would be a upper deck or a second level to it. And that was phase one, and that got finished about a week before camp started. And so we were able to have that ready for our fans this season. It was a really exciting thing to be a part of, which again, that's one of the big reasons that drew me to Coastal, was that it's very exciting to come in on something on the ground level, to say that you were a part of a program for their first year, whether that be the first year of college football, first year of FBS competition. So that was wonderful to be able to see all the fans from Conway and from Myrtle Beach, and the entire Horry County community to be able to come on and support the Shants Saturday in and Saturday out. And the second part of that is that we're actually going to be working on the second level, the second phase of it during this off season, where there'll be, luxury boxes, and then a second level on the visitor side as well. And so we're hoping to get that completed before the beginning of our 2018 season. So that would be a big part of the FBS transition, is having a stadium that can facilitate that number of fans. And then the other big one, as far as FBS ball, would be the scholarship aspect of it. So upon joining the FBS, we went up to 85 full scholarships, which is a huge blessing to this football team, because we're able to go out there and to get the athletes that we need, that we know will make the Chanticleer football team and Teal Nation proud here in the coming years.